one of the first things that every photographer learns as soon as they pick up the camera is there's a frame. It's a fixed frame. And most people have the same frame. It's a 35 millimeter frame for the most part. And so how do you make your work different from anybody else's? So it's what you put in the frame, and it's where you cut the rest of the 360 degrees in all axes, by the way. We're looking at a spinning web of 360 degree arcs, and you're moving this frame around. And early on, I sensed the power of that in this regard. When you put the frame up to your eye, the world continues outside the frame. So what you put in and what you leave out are what determines the meaning or potential of your photograph. But you must continue to keep in mind that it's plenty of stuff off stage. And what bearing might the rest of the off stage have on this? And so one of the things about the Leica that's so special is that the Leica has the window here, not here. So when you put the camera to your face with a single lens reflex camera, you block the world. But when you put it with your eye, you see this. And this eye sees all that. So you are seeing the world and the context. This is the finer instrument than a single lens reflex, which essentially blinds you and makes you one-eyed. And certainly one-eyed is what a camera does. That's why it's so two-dimensional. But you are binocular. And so understanding that the world continues outside the frame, and that you might actually use that as dramatic, though unseen content, it leaves certain things ambiguous or unspoken, but impinging upon. And I believe that that recognition, as well as the power of the frame to put disparate, unrelated things together, suddenly, this guy who's going about his business, doing all this stuff, and this woman with the poodle going over here, they have no knowledge of each other. But in your frame, it's context. And I'm going to go on record here, because when I think about my photographs, I understand that my interest all along has not been in identifying a singular thing, but in photographing the relationship between things. The unspoken relationship, the tacit relationship, the impending relationship. All of these variables are there if you choose to see in this way. But if you choose to only make objects out of singular things, you'll wind up shooting the arrow into the bullseye all the time, and you get copies of objects in space. I didn't want copies of objects. I wanted the ephemeral connections between unrelated things to vibrate. And if my pictures work at all, at their best, they are suggesting these tenuous relationships. And that fragility is what's so human about them. And I think it's what's also in the Romantic tradition, because it is a form of humanism that says, we're all part of this together. I'm not just a selector of objects. And there's plenty of photographers, plenty here, who are great photographers, but who only work in the object reality frame of reference. They collect things. And I don't think of myself as a collector. It's my sense of where I'm different from other people. And that's not a measure or a judgment. It's just a sense of your own identity. For me, the play is always in the potential. It's like magnetism.